What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to stay daily Ravens content, make sure the subscribe button down below and turn the notification bell on if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Before I get into this video, I just want to kind of preface it by saying if you didn't know how the regular season is going to work with this channel, we're going to be live streaming before and after all of the Baltimore Ravens games. So for week one, Monday Night Football, we will start streaming 1 hour before the game starts, and we'll start streaming pretty much as close to right after the game ends as possible. And we answer any questions and things like that. That makes it a lot easier so that we don't have to do like a pre-game like prediction show and stuff like that, where we don't really sometimes talk about the things that you guys want to hear about. But that kind of brings me into my next point. If you guys have any topics that you want, me to talk about, you want me and Joshua to talk about, I can definitely get him on. Let me know in the comment section down below and ask those questions, and we will absolutely talk about them because we want to talk about what you guys want to hear about. But in today's video, I want to talk about Marquise Hollywood Brown, who has said that he is 100% now. And I want to talk about why I really think that this is the year, his third year in the NFL, that he's really going to take that next step up. And he's going to show why we used that first round pick on him, because a lot of Ravens fans get very upset when you look back at that draft class and you see DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, and there's a couple other guys that are pretty decent out of the class. But Hollywood Brown has been very solid. But this is, I really believe, the year that he's able to take that next step up. And the first thing that I'm going to say, when you compare him to the other players, they are all in better passing situations. Okay. And like, just imagine DK Metcalf comes in. Who's his quarterback? Russell Wilson. And me talking about this, don't take it as me saying Lamar Jackson's bad. Okay. Russell Wilson is the best deep ball thrower in football. That is what DK Metcalf is good at, is going deep. So Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf, along with Tyler Lockett, another very solid deep threat, is going to allow him to be very good. Then when it comes to AJ Brown, they have Derrick Henry. Everybody sells out every play to stop Derrick Henry. So that definitely benefits him when he runs his slant routes, and all the linebackers have already crashed the line of scrimmage. And so he's able to take, slant routes all the time to the house. Hollywood Brown hasn't had that. He's been the only wide receiver, one of only two pass catchers that has really any remote ability to do anything on the football field, him and Mark Andrews. And they've been in a heavy run, heavy offense that hasn't utilized the passing game. However, this is finally going to be that year where he is able to take that next step. And why is that? Not only is it T. Martin and Keith Williams, who I think will play an impact, will help increase the passing game, but it's the other wide receivers that he has around him. That's what's going to allow him to be great, is because it's not going to be defenses lining up and going, oh, all we need to stop is Hollywood, because that's what defenses did last year. I don't think there was a single team that looked at the Ravens and were like, oh no, Willie Snead. Oh no, it's Miles Boykin. No, they did not care. Throw it at Miles Boykin. Throw it at Willie Snead. Throw it at Des Bryant. Throw it at Devin Duvernay. They didn't care. However, when you bring in Sammy Watkins, a very solid NFL wide receiver that has proven that he can torch people, he can get by people, as well as Rashad Bateman, who will be back eventually, that is going to allow him to not be the primary focus of the defense. And while he may still be considered the number one by other teams, they're not going to be able to key in on him as the number one. He may still be guarded by the best corner on the other team. There's a chance Sammy Watkins is, but it just depends on the other team, how they game plan. Maybe they don't even have someone shadow him, which would help him because it would allow him to go against lesser corners and things like that. Because a lot of teams don't shadow with their number one corner. They like to keep him on one side. But Hollywood Brown is going to be able to go out there and, for the first time in his career, not be the entire passing defense's scheme to stop. Like it was him and Mark Andrews his entire career. That's all it's been. And he's still been able to be good. If you don't know his stats, I can go over them real quickly. So rookie year, 71 targets, 46 receptions, 584 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Sophomore year, 100 targets, 58 receptions, 769 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Like that right there is an improvement. But the thing that you just have to look at is, like, he's increasing targets, but he may not even get the same amount of targets this year. However, the targets that he does get, he'll finally start being able to utilize his skill set, because his speed is one of the biggest things that the Ravens are yet to truly be able to take advantage of. We've seen them take a couple of shots. The deep ball against Miami, the deep ball against Cincinnati, the deep ball against Cleveland. He's caught some deep balls. However, they're almost always, two guys in that area because they're always putting a safety over top when Hollywood's on that side. When you add Sammy, when you add Bateman, when you still have Mark Andrews where they need to cover the middle of the field, you're not going to be able to do that as often. So the chances that the Ravens can take more deep shots to him, which I'm not saying that Hollywood Brown is only a deep wide receiver. He is actually one of the league leaders in separation on his routes. He creates great separation. The issue is there's always just multiple guys there, and they're able to still cover him. But now it's going to be a lot of situations that he's going to get where he's in one-on-one coverage, and with that speed and his route running, he can run routes. He's got good cuts, and I expect him to be more improved under T. Martin and Keith Williams, and that's going to allow him to get open, get into space, and when he's in space with that kind of speed, he's very dangerous. Think about when we drafted him. Everybody thought like Tyreek Hill in terms of speed and things like that. He's a little bit different of a player. However, you see when Tyreek Hill catches the ball and he's got a little bit of space, he's able to go a long way. Let Hollywood not be in double coverage because that's typically what he's in. Or if he's not in double coverage, catches in like the flats or something like that, and there's linebackers chasing him and he's already there. But like, there's a very good chance that he is catching 15-yard routes and just trying to burn everybody. And then eventually he can hit them with the stop and go, get over the top, because he is one of the most effective stop and go route runners in the NFL. And it's always been pretty good with the Ravens. The issue has been that other players have been in the vicinity and things like that, and they haven't been able to get him to connect. But now that the Ravens have Sammy and Rashad Bateman, it's really going to allow Hollywood Brown to take that next step, and people will really get to see how good he is, because the NFL world doesn't respect Hollywood Brown. They don't. I mean, the way that they talk about him, they think he's terrible. And that, I think, pisses him off. I think that pisses Lamar off. I think they understand that he is actually a very solid wide receiver in the NFL. The issue has been that he just hasn't been able to get that opportunity. And while everybody clowns on the quote he said after the Steelers game about Soldiers, he hasn't been really used properly. But it's not the fault of coaching, really. It's the fault of personnel. Because unless you are a player like a Julio Jones, a Devontae Adams of sorts, where you are the best in the NFL. Like, I think Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the NFL. You can put any wide receivers on the field with Devontae Adams, and he's going to be able to dominate. Why? Because he's that good. Hollywood Brown isn't the top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. However, he's still a pretty solid wide receiver, and he can absolutely be that number 1 if you have the right players around him. And I think they finally do have the right players around him, and he's going to show that, hey, it wasn't a mistake taking Hollywood in the first round when other guys were available. Because what he's able to bring is crazy speed, very solid route running, and incredible chemistry with Lamar Jackson. That's the other thing. Lamar has that chemistry with Hollywood. He can hit Hollywood. It seems like he rarely misses when he's throwing it up to Hollywood. Think about the touchdown pass against the Cowboys. Think about the touchdown pass against the New York Jets. Heck, even the kind of post inside his rookie season against the Steelers, where he just throws it up and he catches it after getting absolutely clobbered in the air. And he kind of landed on his head. It didn't look very good, but it was fine. Or the game-sealing throw against the Arizona Cardinals. The chemistry is there. It's absolutely there. And Lamar seemingly has chemistry with Sammy Watkins. He has chemistry with Mark Andrews. It's finally a passing attack that isn't reliant on 2 people. It should be a passing attack that's reliant on 4, maybe even 5 guys, every single game, as well as the ability to check it down to the running backs in Gus Edwards, Tyson Williams, and possibly Justice Hill, depending on how much he plays. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think Hollywood's going to be able to do this year. Remember, it's a 17-game season, so if you give like a stat prediction, make sure to remember to put the 17 games, because hitting the 1,000-yard mark and things like that is going to be easier than it ever has been in the history of the NFL. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content, and I will see all of you again tomorrow, one day closer to the NFL season.